I'm Elizabeth Justice, an attorney and a member of the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County, Indiana. Here for Women's Equality Day on August 26, 2020, I am proud to introduce you to the League's projects honoring the career and legacy of Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite, Indiana's first professionally trained and licensed female physician. She was born and raised in Montgomery County and practiced medicine here for 36 years, between 1856 and 1892. Dr. Wilhite was also an important suffragist who used her voice and her medical skills to build a better community. Montgomery County has, at last, been chosen to receive an official Indiana state historical marker from the Indiana Historical Society, dedicated to her achievements. That marker will soon be installed on the site where her home and medical office were located at the corner of South Grant Street and West Wabash Avenue in Crawfordsville. Originally, the League created and planned this as an in-person event before COVID-19 changed our plans. We had hoped to have a gathering of women medical practitioners from our community at the site as a visual demonstration of how women today contribute to the medical field in our community. That would have been a beautiful image of the growth of women's career prospects in the 100 years following the passage of the 19th Amendment. However, due to the current pandemic, we chose to honor Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite's legacy with a book and a film. First, the book. Educator and League of Women Voters member Shannon Hudson has researched and written a book about Dr. Wilhite and her time. This illustrated and lively story of a powerful life is being shipped from the publisher as I speak to you. By the end of the month, you will be able to order the book online through Amazon or attain it locally from the Carnegie and Lew Wallace Museums. Let me show you a picture of the cover of the book. It shows Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. She's shown with suffragist roses. In addition, this evening, it's my pleasure to bring you a small film we have created. We felt that the best way to honor Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite's legacy was by asking other women in the medical arts in Montgomery County to tell us in a short video about their careers. Before professionally trained doctors were commonly available, women cared for the sick. Midwives have helped deliver babies from time immemorial and continue to do so. Not all women in the 19th, 20th, or 21st centuries who provided health care were medical doctors. Some had only lay training and experience. We began our legacy review with an African-American woman named Blanche Patterson, who worked as a podiatrist in the early 20th century. Her office was located in the Ben-Hur building in Crawfordsville. League member and local historian Vicki Hudson Swisher provides the video describing Ms. Patterson's role in our community. After that, we have two short videos from women who have practiced medicine in our county for decades. Dermatologist Dr. Linda Vogt Spencer and pediatric dentist Terry A. Nguyen. Finally, the centerpiece of this project is a series of 15 video clips featuring a cavalcade of Montgomery County girls who, like Mary Holloway Wilhite, grew up here and went away to study medicine. These professional women are practicing in a wide range of medical disciplines around the country, as you will hear. We are aware that since Dr. Wilhite's time, many other local women, both those who grew up here and those who practiced here, have been professionally trained and licensed in dentistry, nursing, audiology, veterinary medicine, and other medical fields. Some of those women include Dr. Linda Tagg, Dr. Janet Rucker, Dr. Sharon Odell Keaty, Dr. Anita Joshi, Dr. Elizabeth Colonna, Dr. Mary Glass, and many more. All of them, whether named here in this project or not, are worthy of recognition. Please consider this video collection to be just a sampling of a few of our notable women. From among these, another medical pioneer deserves special mention. Mary Grace Del Torto, who grew up in New York, graduated from medical school at the University of Virginia, married, and became known as Dr. Mary Ludwig when she moved here in 1958 to practice medicine. Like Dr. Wilhite, she also faced discrimination. She also cared for those neglected by others. Today, her name graces our free medical clinic. Beside her, for many decades, worked capable registered nurses, including Michelle Thompson and Christine Amadon, in what was known as the Well Baby Clinic and the Christian Nursing Service. Today in this film, we honor all women who practice healthcare here and those who grew up here and are practicing medicine elsewhere. Too often, the monumental achievements of women have been overlooked or lost to history. We see this as an opportunity to highlight the courageous medical career and public work of suffragist Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite, with the hope that her example and the examples of the women you are about to see will serve as a beacon for others. Now it is my pleasure to give you Vicki Hudson Swisher speaking about Blanche Patterson.
Good day. My name is Victoria Elaine Hyde Elmore Hudson Swisher. I'm the local historian on Black history here in Montgomery County, Crawfordsville, Indiana. Today I'm going to speak to you about Blanche Patterson. How do I describe Blanche Patterson? Truly a woman of color, born before her time, they say, but others think right on time. She was born in the first generation of non-slave Black Americans, so there were no set rules. She was born in 1884. The granddaughter of the mother of AME Church and its first pastor, she had a very religious upbringing. First being taught at the AME Church School, and then the newly finished Lincoln School for Colored Children. She went on to graduate from the local Crawfordsville High School, which was integrated, and then attended Wilberforce College, a colored college in Wilberforce, Ohio, affiliated with the AME Church Conference. Most pastors' sons attended, and she was one of the first women to graduate from there. After graduation, she joined a traveling minstrel show as part of the Jubilee Gospel part of the program. You see, Blanche was an accomplished musician. Her music teacher at the Lincoln School was Mr. Paris, who had run a minstrel show at one time and had many connections. His sons also were accomplished musicians and went on to become world-renowned jazz artists, who sadly were segregated when they visited home to Crawfordsville. Blanche and her sisters would hold musicales at the local opera house for fundraisers for the local AME church and her colored improvement societies and NAACP members. In 1922, Blanche, unmarried, decided to open her own business with a couple of friends. She opened a beauty shop at first with a couple of church friends, the 3 Bs they called them: Bertha, Blanche, and Bernice. Blanche also studied the medical field by interning under Dr. Anthony, the principal of the Lincoln School, who at one time was going to open a colored hospital, since the local Culver Hospital was segregated at the time. Miss Blanche would mostly see white patients in her Ben Hill building office. Her colored patients she would see, and poor patients she would see in the clinic, located in over where she lived, in the east end of town. Her colored patients would mostly go to her for small broken bones or something like that, but for any medicinal thing, they would prefer to go to the local midwife with their home remedies, not trusting the local colored doctor. I was recently approached by an older white lady at the Lane Place, and it was during the holidays, and she related how when she was a little girl, her mother was seen by Blanche Patterson, and how she always remembered the softness of Blanche Patterson's hands, and she always had a kind word for her. Miss Patterson was a respected member of the community by both black and white citizens. I do believe she was the most well-off of the black women, of the women of color locally. And my mother remembers, and her cousin remember going trick-or-treating as kids, especially going by Miss Patterson's house because she had the best treats. And she would always invite the children in and inquire about their parents and how they were doing. and encouraged them to stay in school and get an education. She spent her life taking care of others. And on her way, but sadly, on her way to take care of some friends in Jasper, she died from injuries from a car accident at the age of 80. She was mourned by all who knew her. There's more to the Blanche Patterson story, as I recently discovered her diary from 1922 in talking about how she was going to set up her business, some notes about how to do different processes of taking care of white women's hair, dyeing it, and that kind of thing. Very interesting. And her notes from when she was studying for her boards to become a physician. So stay tuned while we explore deep, and I really want to explore her time on the road with the minstrel show to see, what that was like. And perhaps answer them is why she never married. Was it a class thing because she was well off and educated and her folks thought nobody was good enough? We shall see. It'd be interesting trying to figure that mystery out. Have a good day.
Hi, this is Dr. Terry Nguyen, and I'm a pediatric dentist here in Montgomery County and very honored to be asked to participate in this program. I grew up on a farm in Montgomery County and helped with all the veterinary care of the animals on the farm, and that's how I became interested in healthcare. I knew from a really early age that I was going to be a doctor of some kind. I earned my undergraduate degree at IU Bloomington in medical technology, and then I attended IU School of Dentistry in Indianapolis for my doctorate degree. And then after that, I went to the University of Kentucky in Lexington for my postdoctoral residency in pediatrics. Both of my parents encouraged all three of their daughters to be independent and educated, as highly educated as we could be, in a time period where the expectation was marriage for girls. So I'm really, really happy that they pushed me, and because I love my career. I still get up every day all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and just excited to come to work to make kids healthy. The people in Montgomery County have just been wonderful and supportive for me and my staff for the 30 years that I've been practicing. So I want to thank you, Dr. Wilhite, for paving the way for women in healthcare 100 years ago. Thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Dr. Linda Spencer. In 1989, I opened the first dermatology practice in Montgomery County, and I've been asked to talk about the path that led me here. Well, in high school, in a suburb north of Chicago, I knew that I wanted to work in medicine, but it never occurred to me to be a doctor. Our local hospital had a program called the Penn-Wazee program. Penn-Wazee standing for pen, watch, and scissors, the three things that nurses should always carry. It was intended for young women who wanted to go into nursing or possibly an allied healthcare field, and allowed us to job shadow through each of the departments in the hospital. I learned very quickly that I was not cut out for nursing. I was somewhat interested in physical therapy. One evening when I was doing my emergency room month, I was talking with the ER physician, and he came out and asked, "Why don't you want to go to medical school?" Well, it never occurred to me that women could do such a thing. So I planted a seed that was further nourished by my mentors at college, where they kept asking me the same thing: "Why don't you go to medical school?" So after graduation from Northwestern University, I went to medical school at the University of Illinois in Chicago, where during my senior year, I did an elective in dermatology and fell in love with the field. After my internship in internal medicine in Chicago, I was fortunate enough to match to a very competitive dermatology residency in Louisville. And after I completed that residency, my husband and I decided we wanted to settle down and raise a family and work in a small town in the Midwest, preferably with a college, and we fell in love with Crawfordsville. This community has been so gracious and supportive of my practice and of my family, and it's just been a pleasure to work alongside such wonderful people for 31 years. Thank you, League of Women Voters, for this celebration in honor of Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite.
Hi, my name is Erika Caesar Taylor. When I was in Montgomery County, my name was Erika Whitehead. I'm currently a registered nurse and I work at Ascension St. Vincent in Indianapolis, Indiana. I currently am the Director of Transplant Services as well as Mechanical Circulatory Support, Pulmonary Hypertension, as well as Cardiopulmonary Rehab at Ascension St. Vincent Hospital. I graduated from Ball State University with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise Physiology, and then I moved to get my associate degree in nursing from IUPUI, and then continued on to obtain my master's degree at IUPUI in nursing education as well. My history and my pathway as a nurse was I began my nursing career in the critical care unit at Ascension St. Vincent, and I was a critical care nurse in the cardiothoracic vascular transplant unit there. I then later became a supervisor and then a manager, and then moved into my role as director of transplant about 4.5 years ago. My roots in Montgomery County, I was born and raised in Montgomery County, so a lot of my nursing career and my background and what drove me to be a nurse started in Montgomery County. I remember being inspired by my school nurse, Carol Holman. I was also inspired by one of my dear friend's mothers, Linda Norris, as well as my school counselor, Sherry Harris, who encouraged me to pursue a degree in nursing. It was later, as I turned into a teenager and became a patient myself, that one of my bedside caregivers by the name of Rose, I'll never know her last name, but she ultimately inspired me to move into the field of nursing. So as you can see, my nursing career has been inspired all by women, which brings me to Dr. Holloway Wilhite, which I am grateful and thankful for her bravery and her courage as she led the way for women into the field of medicine. So I'm excited to be a part of this project, and I'm grateful and thankful. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Jenny Seibert, and I am a psychiatrist. I was raised in Crawfordsville and graduated from Crawfordsville High School, after which I went to Tulane University, where I got my Bachelor of Arts degree in Spanish and my Bachelor of Science in Cell Molecular Biology. And it was at that point that I was thinking more seriously about a career in medicine, though I wasn't sure what form that would take. I always knew that I was interested in science, and then found myself drawn to community service. And then by the time I got to medical school at the University of Chicago, I started thinking more along the lines of internal medicine, though I started to work with patients who had schizophrenia and depression, and found myself more connected and felt like that work was something I was suited to and felt meaningful to me. So I finished at University of Chicago and then went on to residency and chief residency at the University of Michigan, where I spent 1 year then as faculty in the outpatient clinic. Before then, a very brief time in Charlotte, North Carolina, where I worked at a VA clinic, seeing outpatients there. And then for the last 10 years, I've been in Seattle, Washington, where I've on and off worked for the University of Washington in the inpatient psychiatry unit. I was so lucky along the way to have lots of great female role models in science and in medicine, starting with my mom, pharmacist rather, and then many professors at Tulane, lots of teachers at Crawfordsville High School, including Dr. Hudson, Ms. Britton, Ms. Reinert. People made me feel supported in pursuing whatever field I wanted along the way, and I'm so fortunate to the people who really started paving that way, like Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. So thank you for including me in this, and best of luck to everyone.
Hi, I'm Kristina Santos, formerly Krista Inskeep, and I'm a pediatrician. I'm a product of Indiana Public Schools. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 1994 and then went on to Indiana University for undergrad and to the Indiana University School of Medicine. I graduated from medical school in 2002, and then I moved to Columbus, Ohio to do my pediatrics residency at what was then called Columbus Children's Hospital. I finished in 2005 and moved back to Indianapolis to join a small private pediatrics practice owned by two other female physicians called Step by Step Pediatrics, and I've been practicing there now for 15 years. As a child and adolescent, I had several medical problems that required me to see different doctors, each of whom had his or her own approach to talking to patients and their families. As a patient, I found some of those approaches to be better than others, And I started to think about becoming a pediatrician myself, thinking that I might be able to develop an approach to kids that they would appreciate, since I had come from being a child and a teenager who had been a patient in more doctor's visits than most have. Then when I graduated from high school, my dad gave me a piece of advice about my career selection. He told me to choose a career in which, if I didn't show up one day, it would matter to someone other than my boss. There are a lot of careers in which that is certainly true, but I knew that pediatrics was among them. And so I headed off to college with a plan to major in biology and go on to medical school. Medical school and residency were tough. There were obvious intellectual challenges of learning, retaining, and processing so much information, physical challenges of fatigue and sometimes struggling to find enough time for exercise or healthy diet, and the emotional challenges of becoming attached to patients who sometimes had poor outcomes. In all of those challenges, I really never felt that being female presented an obstacle of its own. I never felt that any more or less of me was expected because of my gender, and I never felt I was denied any opportunities for growth or education. Part of that may have been due to the field of medicine that I studied. Currently, about 70% of incoming pediatrics residents are female. So my colleagues who are in medical specialties that are still dominated by men may have had different experiences as women in medicine than I did. It is certainly true that the women who came before me had different experiences as women in medicine. Pioneers like Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite faced enormous challenges and overcame difficult obstacles without the benefit of a community of female physicians like we have today. I love my job. I love my patients. I love talking to their families about caring for them. I love that after 15 years, I continue to learn and be challenged every day. I'm indebted to the women who cleared this path for me and am grateful every day for the privilege of being a pediatrician.
Hello, my name is Elisha Lambert, previously Elisha Lambert. I am honored to be part of the project that is recognizing and honoring Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite and her contribution to the medical community, especially in Crawfordsville. I am a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner. I've been an RN for 19 years and a nurse practitioner for 12. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 1996. Then I went to St. Elizabeth School of Nursing and got my diploma in nursing in 2001, my bachelor's in nursing in 2002 from St. Joseph College in Rensselaer, Indiana, and then my master's degree in 2008 from IU School of Nursing in Indianapolis. I started my career in labor and delivery and bereavement for families who have lost babies. I have taught at college, the college level in nursing for years. I have been an educator, a clinical educator for years, and most recently worked in hospice, caring for families of folks who are dying, and also quality in education. Healthcare is my passion. I knew it from a very young age. I believe that's why I was put on this earth, is to care for other people and help them to feel in their soul that they have someone that cares about them and wants to make a difference in their life. I used to take care of my parents when I was young, and they would always call me, Dr. Elisha, that type of thing. And I decided as the years went along, I would check out anatomy books from the library and that type of thing. I was just enamored with health and caring for others. I decided I wanted to be a nurse when I got into high school, and my parents just encouraged me all the way, and I thank them for that. I just, as a nurse, just want everybody to feel like they have someone, no matter what they're going through, that cares for them and loves them. And really, that's my goal in healthcare. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Abigail Donnelly. I'm a board-certified dermatologist and a native of Crawfordsville, Indiana. I'm so happy to be a part of this project honoring Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. I'm a graduate of Crawfordsville High School, class of 2000, and after that I went to Duke University and got my bachelor's degree from there in 2004. I took a couple of years to do basic science research before I started my medical career, and I graduated from Indiana University School of Medicine with my MD in 2010. I then spent 4 years at the Mayo Clinic doing my internship and residency in dermatology. Practiced in California for a few years, and I'm back home in Indiana here practicing in Carmel with Forefront Dermatology. I have such gratitude for the pioneering women like Dr. Wilhite, who were brave enough to become physicians when women weren't really welcome in the anatomy lab. Dr. Wilhite, after she completed her medical degree, came back to Indiana and really probably wasn't supported by her community of physicians. The American Medical Association did not acknowledge female physicians until 1876, which is 20 years after she had started practicing in Indiana. I like to think that that was probably really tough. The art of medicine is challenging, and she probably felt lonely and a bit isolated being on her own. But she thrived. Not only did she take care of patients in her own exam rooms and hospitals, but she was a major advocate for the advancement of women's rights. She was a philanthropist. She was a poet. She made a life for herself, really without any framework to build it upon. And she chartered new territory for women in medicine. Female physicians now make up 36% of the workforce, and I feel really privileged to serve my community as a doctor, thanks to the pathways that people like Dr. Wilhite blazed 150 years ago. I cannot wait to see where we're at in the next 150 years.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Strickland, and I'm a pediatric nurse practitioner. I've had the opportunity to work in inpatient pediatric hematology oncology and as a pediatric primary care provider. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 2003. I then went on to Indiana Wesleyan University, where I earned my bachelor's degree in nursing. While working at Riley Hospital for Children, I earned my master's degree from IU. Growing up, my dream was to become a pediatric oncologist. I fell in love with a series of books that had captivating stories of children overcoming great obstacles and the women that helped them to do that. These women's roles were inspiring, that of doctors, nurses, lawyers, and social workers. Over the years, my dream shifted a little to becoming a pediatric nurse practitioner. I truly love my job, and it's a privilege to care for others. I have no doubt Dr. Holloway Wilhite felt the exact same way. What a joy and honor it is to be considered a small part of her distinguished legacy.
Hi, I'm Dr. Whitney Whistler. I'm a small animal veterinarian in Sullivan, Indiana. And I am a 2002 graduate of Crawfordsville High School, and I attended Purdue University for veterinary medicine, and I spent 3 years there for undergraduate work, and then 4 years there for veterinary school, and I graduated from Purdue in 2009. In my career, I have worked in many different facets of veterinary medicine. I started as a large animal veterinarian back in 2002, did that for a few years, and then ended up mostly small animal. And then about 2 years ago, went into the research industry side of veterinary medicine and stayed there for about a year, and came back to general practice. I have been doing small animal general practice for the last few years. But currently, back in the small animal world, trying to navigate what we have now as COVID and curbside veterinary medicine, and figuring all that out. It's been definitely interesting. I was inspired to enter the medical field by actually a prestige colleague of mine, Dr. Michael, who practiced small animal medicine in my community for many, many years. He graduated from Purdue University in 1964, so one of the very first veterinary classes, and then practiced for 40 years until he passed away in 2017. He was also mayor of our town in Crawfordsville from 1988 to 2000, and just a genuinely awesome, amazing colleague. He was always humble, giving, selfless, and actively involved in many aspects of the community and charitable organizations. And he was just always encouraging to me to achieve anything that I put my mind to. And never once looked at me differently because I was a woman. He never once thought that that was even weird to be going into veterinary medicine as a woman. He thought that whatever you put your mind to, you were capable of. And he was always encouraging me to fight for that and to study hard and to practice hard. And even though it was a field that was predominantly dominated by mostly men up until the 1980s, I admired his compassion that he had. I admired how he handled challenges that he faced. I admired how he treated all of his clients equally, men, women, race, color, age, background. And I admired his constant positivity. Those are all attributes I try to instill in my team and display for my team now. The field of veterinary medicine has drastically changed over the last 20 years. Predominantly it was mostly men up until the 1980s. Almost 70% graduating classes were male. And then today, with almost 76% of graduating classes being female. But we still, as women veterinarians, deal with gender bias every day. There's few women that reach high levels of positions compared to men in our field. We often see clients asking for male veterinarians and sometimes perceive female veterinarians as less intellectual or physically not as capable as males, especially in large animal medicine. We also tend to not be taken as seriously sometimes in our careers if we choose to also have families and be career moms. And that's something that I personally have seen and struggled with, that a lot of times you don't get promotions or don't get higher up positions because you want to be a mom and have a career and maybe take a day off here and there. That's something that we as moms and women struggle with in the veterinary career and has made things sometimes hard for us. But despite all of this, our career is so fulfilling and rewarding, and we as women have brought so much compassion and hard work to the field. Women are inherently good veterinarians, and the number of women in veterinary science is booming, and that's for good reasons. We are so thankful for women like Dr. Wilhite, who have paved the way for us to practice veterinary medicine and medicine of all kinds. We are so privileged to have the opportunities that we do today as women, and because of people like her, we have those opportunities today. So thank you very, very much to Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tyler Burretto. I'm a family doctor and health services researcher. In my career, I've had 2 jobs since graduating residency and fellowship. First, I took a tenure-track position at UT Health San Antonio. The majority of my time there was spent doing grant-funded research. My research focus is on access to maternity care, which means both physical or geographic access, but also social access, economic access. So really access in the broadest sense of the word. Missing full scope family medicine, I moved on to my current job as a full scope family physician at a community health center outside of Seattle. I work with predominantly Spanish speaking and underserved patients. I spend some of my time still working on my research and some time also as a core faculty member of a family medicine residency. I feel really lucky to have found a nice balance between providing, studying, and teaching full scope family medicine. I'm a graduate of Crawfordsville High School. I went to Grinnell College in Iowa and then to Michigan State University for medical school. I graduated from medical school in 2013 and then with my master in public health in 2019. As many people watching this know, I do not come from a medical family. I went to college hoping it would lead to a PhD in some science, and then I took a poli-sci class on disease, death, and world politics, which really ultimately inspired me to pursue a career in medicine. There were and are barriers since I'm female. I've not noted official barriers. They're much more covert today. I could give many examples of seemingly small transgressions I experience as a woman. Women in medicine are not so unusual as we were when Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite became Indiana's first female to be a licensed physician, though we still have a lot of work to do towards equality. I'm really excited about this project to honor Dr. Wilhite. The breadth of her impact and sustained perseverance make her truly a person to emulate. Thank you.
My name is Dr. Lauren Mummert Olivanya, and I am a board-certified pediatric dentist. I work in South Bend for a group where I perform the full mouth reconstruction cases in both area hospitals. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 2005, then the University of Notre Dame in 2009. In 2013, I completed a residency program in pediatric dentistry at Riley Hospital for Children, where I served as chief resident. My journey to becoming a pediatric dentist started in high school. I volunteered at a Boys and Girls Club of Montgomery County party that was aimed at encouraging young girls to become achievers. My dentist, Dr. Janet Rucker, was also volunteering at that event, and I really admired what she was doing in our community. I then shadowed her and realized I also really admired what she did professionally. So I decided to become a dentist and later a pediatric dentist. During the 10 years of education and training after high school, my family, my female classmates, and my female co-residents encouraged me and helped me to succeed and to achieve my goals so that I could become like the women that I admire professionally. It is women like Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite, who served as pioneers in the medical field as women, who paved the way and allowed for women like me to get to become dentists. And I'm so thankful and honored to get to participate in a program that honors such an extraordinary woman.
Hello, I'm Liz Combs and I'm a nurse. In my career, I've worked in Indiana and Kansas in multiple specialty ICUs and a handful of specialty clinics. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School, I attended Indiana University, I graduated with the class of 2011, and I've done advanced work in specialty ICUs. I was inspired to become a nurse after watching my Aunt Julie blaze the path before me. I was always eager to emulate her drive, compassion, and strength. It is truly a privilege to be a part of the project to honor Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. It is so important to me to honor the women who did what no one thought was possible at the time. She inspires me to push my career further even 150 years later.
Hi, I'm Dr. Anastasia Yee. I grew up here in Crawfordsville, Indiana. I'm a family medicine physician practicing here in Crawfordsville, Indiana at Valley Professionals Community Health Center. I attended Hose Elementary School, Tuttle Middle School, and graduated in 2007 from Crawfordsville High School. I went to Indiana University in Bloomington to get my degrees in chemistry and Spanish, and then went to medical school and residency in Lewisburg, West Virginia at the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine. I've wanted to be a doctor since I was 3 years old. It's been my dream to return here to Crawfordsville to help serve the underserved populations where I grew up and give back to the community that gave me so much. I'm an Eli Lilly Scholar and a National Health Service Corps Scholar. Serving those that need it most is what's important to me. I'm proud to honor Dr. Wilhite today, and I'm honored to be a part of this project. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Savannah Nogg. I'm a registered nurse. I started my nursing career as an LPN in 2011 at a local nursing home. I spent the first 4 years as a nurse gaining experience to work towards my ultimate goal, being a labor and delivery nurse. I landed my dream position in 2015 working in labor and delivery at Methodist. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 2008 and attended Ivy Tech for both my RN and LPN degrees. I received my BSN from IU Kokomo in 2015. As long as I can remember, I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to help mamas and babies. I never considered that staying in Crawfordsville, living at home with my parents, and attending community college would be how I made my dream come true. After financial aid falling through and not being able to attend my first choice school, I found myself here in Crawfordsville starting my college education. I consider myself extremely lucky that Ivy Tech had just opened a location here in town. This allowed me to sign up for classes just weeks before they began and stay at home with my parents. My mom was always my number one supporter and never let me believe I would be anything other than a wonderful nurse. I'm delighted to be a part of this project to honor Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lindsey Leach, and I'm an emergency medicine physician. I currently work in Salt Lake City, Utah with a group called Utah Emergency Physicians. I work at 5 different emergency departments throughout the Salt Lake Valley, taking care of patients with emergent medical conditions. I graduated from Crawfordsville High School in 2010 and then went on to Colorado State University for my undergrad. I then went to IU School of Medicine and obtained my medical degree in 2017. I then completed residency training at the University of Utah Health in emergency medicine. Growing up in Crawfordsville as the daughter of a family medicine physician, I was always interested in medicine, and as a result of watching my dad, was inspired to go into the field. During my time at undergrad, that interest was further solidified, and I made the decision to go to medical school. While in medical school, I was involved in a Women in Medicine mentoring group, and there I was so inspired by this amazing group of female leaders and physicians. I feel very honored and fortunate to have had many great female physician mentors along the way, and I'm thrilled to be a part of this project to honor Dr. Mary Holloway Wilhite.
Hi, my name is Megan Leach. I am a physician assistant or PA. I have previously worked at Hendricks Regional Health in Danville, Indiana in the emergency department, and I currently work at Community Hospital South in a surgical role. I am a 2012 graduate of Crawfordsville High School, and then I went on to Butler University for both my undergraduate degree and my master's degree for PA studies, which I finished in 2017. I have been really blessed to have awesome female medical mentors in my life from a really young age. My mom was a family practice nurse practitioner. She's retired now, but was a huge influence on my decision to go into medicine, and not for anything specific, but more because I saw the way she cared about her patients, the differences that she made in people's lives. Just seeing her interact with people in the community, I knew that what she did was important and was really special, and it was always something that really interested me. I was also just so lucky to have awesome women in science around me in high school, the opportunity to take AP science and math classes led by female teachers who were so smart and so encouraging and influential in my interest in STEM. And then on at Butler, where I had wonderful female professors and mentors in the field, has just been really special, not to mention a sister who works as an emergency medicine physician. So women in science has always been has just surrounded me. And half of that is growing up in Crawfordsville in an awesome environment where that was possible and was just the reality, and it never felt like it wasn't something I could do because I was female. So thanks for the opportunity to participate in this project. It's really awesome. And I'm looking forward to hearing everybody else's stories about women in medicine from Montgomery County. It's a cool place to have grown up, and I consider it influential because of all of the powerful women who encouraged me that I could do whatever I wanted to do, whether they were science people or not. So thanks to all of those people. I am where I am today because of that.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Howland. I'm a third-year medical student at the University of Michigan Medical School. My career in medicine has not really begun beyond medical school. I attended Crawfordsville High School and then Pomona College. And after college, I was a health consultant for a couple of years and then decided to pursue a career in medicine. So I did a post-baccalaureate degree to get my pre-medical classes and then found my way to medical school. In terms of being a woman in medicine, I received a phenomenal education in math and science at Crawfordsville High School and the Crawfordsville schools in general, and I went to college thinking that I wanted to be a physician. But when I got to college, I was quickly intimidated by the sciences, and I think it's very easy for women to become intimidated by math and science. And I decided that I just wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough to become a physician, so I instead studied public policy and economics. And I don't regret the career that I had and the things that I learned along the way, but I wish that my younger self had realized the potential that I had and not had become so quickly dissuaded with the career that I could have had so early on. In other things, in thinking about a career within medicine, I've often been told that as a woman, I should find a career that has a good work-life balance and that will allow me to spend time with children and to have children in residency. And while I think that it's true, I obviously want to have a good work-life balance as a physician, it's not something that I hear my male classmates being told. It's something that I'm able to shake off and continue to focus on what I want in the future, but it's frustrating nonetheless. The exciting thing is that I'm part of a 65% female class, and I get to work with phenomenal female physicians all the time, so I think it's just a really exciting time to be a woman in medicine. And I'm really honored to be part of this project and to think about all the progress that we've made over time. Thank you.